Just a quickie with me, Ali Kit Kat. Welcome to Ali Kit Kat's TV. And now, time for a cookie. A cookie with me. I'm actually official cookie monster. I do love cookies. I feel like I love biscuits and cookies more than cake and ice cream. Although saying that, cookie dough and ice cream is a very good match. Plus, I like, those chocolate, like, cake things, those pudding things that are hot, and then there's hot, oozing chocolate, like a volcanic eruption when you bite into it. That with ice cream is another good combo, because when I was a little kid, I never used to be a massive sweet tooth. Like, I never used to be into desserts and puddings that much. Like, I never used to really like cake that much, and I still don't like it a lot, but I like it a bit more than I used to. I hate mince pies. So I was in M&S because I was looking for the brownie pies, because if you hate mince pies and stuff like that, then the brownie pies could be appealing. But they didn't have any. Well, I couldn't see, but I did get chocolate cookies. So these are M&S Bakery milk chocolate cookies. And there were 5, but my daughter had one this morning, actually. So this is how the packet's looking. Nice and simple. And see-through, which is what I like, so you can see exactly what you're getting. See? And they're nice chunky looking cookies, so let's give those a whirl. Why not? And this is, I suppose, a very good time to do it, because ultimately I've just had my diagnosis for ADHD come through, and I feel like cookies, biscuits and tea, or cookies in this case, and tea is going to help process the information. So it's so interesting, because when I was a kid, let's have a whiff. Oh, that smells lovely. Let's see how it looks like. So yeah, it's looking rather toasty and brown on the outside and rustic, and you can see a good amount of chunky bits of chocolate chips in there. This is how it is looking. Front and back, sides, looking rustic and nice. Yeah, so I just got ADHD diagnosis, which is interesting, because when I was a kid, I did get diagnosed with dyslexia, maybe around 7 or 8 years old. And I used to go to this school in London in the 80s when I was a little kid. So that would have been a really interesting time to get diagnosed, because dyslexia then wasn't heard of a lot, and it was kind of like a hush-hush, swept under the rug type thing, just like many things were in those days. So it's quite interesting. So I initially did have difficulty spelling and reading, but obviously with dyslexia, it's also on a spectrum. There's like a spectrum of, let's say, symptoms or traits that come with dyslexia, and depending on the person, what they can have difficulty with. But saying that, I also got a diagnosis in my adult life, kind of accidentally, with dyspraxia as well. Because I was going to uni for a bit, studying fashion for a bit, but I didn't complete the course. Long story there, but because I was called out in front of the class, like, because we had to take our turn showing like our scrapbook portfolio thing, because everything like gets marked, doesn't it? And even if you're doing something like fashion or something arty or something creative like that, you still get called out or marked for your spellings or bad spelling mistakes or something like that. And one of the tutors, it was my turn for him to look at my book, my portfolio, and I stuck all these like pictures in under drawings and illustrations and prints and like fabrics, and like I was kind of old school about, like I wrote next to it like handwriting, and it was just a rough like copy of what I was gonna like produce at the end. And they know that, but they still have to, you know, they say what they think and they think what they say. Sometimes they don't say much at all, and you're like, what are you thinking? Why are you judging me? And he was one of those types that didn't really say much. He'd be like looking and be like, And he was like liking the work and everything. But then all of a sudden he was like, in front of the whole class, he goes, oh, you need to watch your spellings, because or you will fail if you get your spellings wrong. And I was like, oh. So then in front of the class, because I never like really said this like to anyone. I mean, like when I was at school, people knew I was dyslexic because I used to go to the, you know, the dyslexic teacher, the special teacher. You'd go to a separate little room on the side, the annex of the classroom, and there'd be books in there, and she'd be helping you with your reading and your spelling and your writing and stuff like that. And it's almost like a bit of a timeout. You and another kid would be in there because they'd be dyslexic too, and you'd be the only two dyslexic kids in the class or in the school even. But jumping forwards, I never really told anybody that I was dyslexic. Like I might have written it down in my format when I applied to join the uni course at the time. And he was like, you need to watch your spellings or you'll fail in front of the whole class. In which I said, oh, yeah, I'm dyslexic. And he was like, you need to prove it or you'll fail. You need to show me the certificate to say that you're dyslexic. And I was like, okay. But I didn't have it because, I don't know, my mom lost it, or when I was a little kid as well, we had a fire in our house and a lot of the stuff like went up in flame, or they got smoked. We had a fire in my house when I was a little kid in the kitchen, and the kitchen burnt down, and loads of stuff just went missing, and I don't know what happened to the original. I was a little kid, I wouldn't have even had it. My mom would have had it, or someone would have had the diagnosis, because I even remember going for the dyslexia like test back in the day. I remember being in the room and actually physically writing and doing like puzzles and reading and whatever they got us to do back then. I was only 7. This was the 80s. I was like 7 or 8 years old, something like that. He says that to me in front of the whole class. So I end up going for another assessment for dyslexia. And the person that assessed me for that, like several weeks later, they sent me the report in the post and with all the information. And in there somewhere, they actually said that I was dyslexic and dyspraxic. And I didn't know they were actually testing for dyspraxia. I think sometimes like in this day and age, because dyspraxia, a lot of people with dyslexia can also have dyspraxia, not everyone. So in this day and age, that's more recognised too, even though dyspraxia isn't as recognised as, let's say, dyslexia is. But dyspraxia to me is like a physical, for me, it's like a physical dyslexia where you're tripping over things, you get dizzy, disorientated, you bump into things, you trip over, you break things, you lose things really easily, which some of those traits of dyspraxia can also be traits of ADHD. It's just that if you have dyspraxia, those traits, those certain traits can be like amplified even more, like it can be more intense, more chronic, and yeah. But basically I just got diagnosed with ADHD, so it's all kind of making sense because of other ways that I think and do things, and it's kind of interesting. And I do feel like I need a little bit of comfort and a little bit of a hug in the form of a cookie. So let's give this a try, and I might talk about that maybe on another channel or another page regarding diagnoses, because I'm really, this is one of my favorite interests, like talking about stuff like this. ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and neurodiversity, including NPD, like narcissistic personality disorder, and sociopathy, psychopaths and stuff like that. I find it really fascinating. Plants, psychology, humans and animals and all that. It's one of my favourite subjects. And now I'm going off on one, and now I'm oversharing. Oh shit. Let's try cookie. Go. Nice. It's nice. It's got some crunch to it. And it's got a nice taste. It's a very sort of nice kind of slightly, it's got a bit of a homemade cookie-esque sense to it. I did buy this yesterday. I bought it because I was running around getting dizzy and M&S, so I didn't know what to do with myself. I thought I need to get something sweet for lunch tomorrow. And then I saw the bakery section, and I saw 2 packets of these left, and I saw a man grab them, and he went, yummy. And I just kind of looked and I went, ooh, maybe I should get some. He says they're really good. I said, oh, maybe I'll get some for me and my daughter. So my daughter had one, and she reckoned that they were like a bit like KFC cookies. I do not know if they are, because I don't know if I've ever tried a KFC cookie or not. Let me know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Maybe I should try KFC and then try KFC cookie, and then I could let you know. Interesting. I haven't been to KFC for ages, but let's give that one more try. Nice. So it's kind of got different kind of textures and tastes, which I like. It's got like a crumbliness to it, a little bit of a chewiness to it, and yeah, that's how it's looking. Let's give it a dunk in some tea. Now I've put honey in my tea. I got honey. I tend to put honey in my tea usually. Sometimes I do sugar if I'm at a cafe. But I got, you know, the honeycomb that you get in honey. I got that honey from a bee, like a bee exhibition that I went to in Birmingham at Winterbourne House. It's a really nice place, and they do like bee things there, so look it up. This took a lot longer than I thought. I tell you what, that is well good, dunked in tea. Aren't all biscuits, most biscuits and cookies. Yum.